So people went to sleep on Tuesday night, not absolutely sure what Wednesday morning would look like after Trump decided he was going to wipe out a 7,000-year-old civilization. Nothing new in this. The man's a madman. We know that. He is a kind of Nero figure. He's somebody who you might think has been riddled with syphilis or something. He's gone so insane. Nevertheless, it's part of the new deal of politics, and it's something we all have to play along with. And the media are totally complicit in him, of course. They're not really asking the big questions. They're not facing up to the real reality of it. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it is. Seems to me to be just pure cowardice. And now online we've got analysis of analysis of analysis and analysis and analysis of what happens now and who won. That's the big one, who won, and I'm not going to go down that path about who won. What a ridiculous question. Nevertheless, victory is being claimed on all sides, and the analysis, trying to find out what is the meaning behind all of this, what is the logic, if there is any, or looking into the deep psychological mental state of Trump, that kind of thing. And this is a pastime, really, this analysis, and we're dragged into it willingly. We are volunteering to be subject to analysis of this situation, as if any of that has any value whatsoever. Of course, it doesn't have any value. We're just simply watching Mad King in action. That's all there really is to it, and I'll talk about why I think that is. But following this story and the stories that will come shortly in the aftermath, because this is not over, of course, is just a key defense mechanism of the human mind for us to follow this, to use this external circus in order to kind of distract ourselves and prevent ourselves from basically sort of living, the honest life that people have lived for tens of thousands of years, which is a very simple thing. And we've decided now to kind of outsource our thinking to online analysis, which is really strange, because I don't think very many of them have it's entertaining. I'm not saying it's not entertaining, and it's wonderfully distracting. I mean, I am guilty of this. I've just spent 40 minutes watching Michael Barrymore make a pizza. And I wasn't alone. There were another couple of million doing it at the same time. And of course, while I was doing it, my heart, my soul was ebbing away. Any value I had as a human being had completely disappeared by the end of it, and there was nothing but shame and misery and regret. But nevertheless, I did do that, and I did it because I needed to distract myself from this anxiety of living. And this is the same when we are following the analysis of what's happened and who's won and what happens next, and because this is just a circus that involves men playing with power, and there's a good philosophical rationale behind this to do with human nature, and it's nothing strange. It's how things are. And why are we seeing it now so overt? We're seeing it now because the controls that have kept this thing at bay, particularly over the last 100, 200 years, but certainly since the Second World War, are now being ignored. But we need this external stimuli to distract ourselves from a cosmic panic. And the cosmic panic is not about Trump or Netanyahu or Putin or Hegseth or any of these dysfunctional men who are displaying probably the worst aspect of human nature for all to see, but human nature nonetheless. They are not really an aberration, they are the norm set free. And that's why we have societies and rules and regulations and legislation, and have had for thousands of years. For thousands of years we have had certain controls in place to stop this kind of thing. And now we're just in a situation where a few authoritarian leaders have found a little chink of light in those regulations, in those controls. And that's all really that's going on. But yeah, we enjoy the analysis. I've been watching the news agents, and the rest is politics. And you've got Joe Rogan, and you've got all of the commentators online, and talking about what this is about. And we could spend 24 hours a day. It is a barrage. The noise, like a white noise, analysing Trump, Hegseth, Netanyahu, the Ayatollah. So I'm not going to say who won, because I think that there's plenty of people out there who can give you that information if you want to know who won. So where I live, I'm between two schools. They are schools for young kids under about 10 or 11. And I saw this, it was kind of raining, drizzle, and there was this guy, and he's pushing this girl in a pram, and she must have been, she's in a pram, so I guess she's 2 or 3, and she's got her first book. I could tell it was his first book, because it's the same first book as I had, and it's probably the first book that you had. Had about 10 pages, this book, and the pages were really thick, like cardboard, really stiff cardboard. And on each page there was a glossy illustration of an animal. Now, as she was going past, she had this book open up, and even though it was raining and the pram was bumping along, she was totally focused on this page of this book. And on each page there was an animal, and underneath just the word, the name of the animal. And that was it. But for this girl, this was the whole world. The particular page that I saw was a giraffe. It was a giraffe. It said giraffe, and it had a beautiful picture of a giraffe. Now I was thinking that girl coming into the world, the curiosity, the fascination, the wonder that awaited her, it must be an immense emotion. What is this thing, this beautiful animal? What is this strange animal? Look at the colours. Even just look at the word giraffe. What a strange word it must appear to somebody who is only just starting to develop language. The fascination, the hope that she must have encapsulated, that one day she would see one, or that she could learn more about it. And I had to juxtapose that image, of course, with what we're seeing today with people like Netanyahu and Trump and Putin and the others and their supporters and their enablers. I don't want to sound like that. I'm starting to begin to sound like that guy Owen. What's he called? Someone Owen. All right. What's he called? Owen Jones. I'm starting to sound a little bit like Owen Jones. Oh, is it Owen Jones? Well, I better kind of keep it cool a bit. He gets very kind of weird and passionate and kind of funny like that. But I'm just telling you reality, what I saw, and the contrast, with the bombing and the celebration in a way of that bombing of that school in Iran at the beginning of the war, when nearly 200 young girls were killed at their desks. And the slaughter and the celebration of slaughter, Hegseth praying and saying this is God's will, saying that the rescued American airman, was like a Christ-like figure, because he was lost on Good Friday and kind of rescued, and then came back to life again on Easter Monday, all that stuff. The Israeli bombing of Beirut, hundreds, maybe thousands of innocents dead there, just mass slaughter for no reason. It's not serving any purpose. We know that there was no actual real result from this war. For every death, there has been no value inherent in it. There's no inherent value in any of the carnage. Nothing has come out of it. Nothing has been achieved. And I thought that, should we tell this young girl looking at this picture of giraffe about the future that awaits in this world? That actually, rather than being a place of wonder, which it is, of course, that these adults have perverted those young dreams, and the story has become sordid and squalid. Humanity let leash isn't pretty, is it? So we have to go back to 1661 and Thomas Hobbes, who talked about the war of all against all. And he said that without the controls, without the regulations and the rules and the social contract between people, it's just a war against all. So if you want analysis, it's simply that people like Trump and his enablers have decided to ignore those controls. They have decided to disassemble mechanisms that might have controlled them in the past. The Supreme Court or the Senate, or even kind of people in their own party, through threats, intimidation and fear, to the point where he can, or any of them can, destroy whole civilizations. Because without those controls, which they dismiss and dissemble, without those mechanisms, the truth is there is no morality and there is no justice. These are things that we have invented for good reason. So that's my analysis of the analysis of the analysis. Next time I'm going to try and think about something more cheerful.